Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video, we're going through the top trade targets for round 16 of the AFL Fantasy 2024 season, in which I was looking at this and I do not like pretty much the top 10 or so. Let's actually just take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Top 10 exactly. I do not like any of them. I mean, 5 of them are rookies and 1, 2, 4 of them are rookies, but 6 trading guys I do not like at all. 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, top 6 guys I don't like at all, including one guy who is suspected to be playing VFL another week, which is pretty obvious who that's going to be. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into this video. So first up is Connor Rozee, massive trade-in. The AFL traders posted about him, averaging 90 on the year, 115, and some people will be like, yep, this is the obvious one just because he scored a 115. And let me just do this. Let me go up here. Let me go, oh, look at this guy. He went 89, 114, 86, 94, then went through a little bit of a rough patch, hit the bye, came back, scored a 65, then scored a 106, and everyone went, oh, this guy's a really good trade-in, and then did this. I'm not saying Rozee's going to do that, but do you see any similarities with that? I wouldn't be surprised if that is dead on 90 that he's averaging when he goes up for this 106 here. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And now he's averaging 79.4, did score a 26, so do we really want to trade this guy in off of one good score? Not even a backing it up the week before that. I just cannot get around this Connor Rozee score because he looked shocking against the Giants. And he plays St Kilda and will probably cop a, I don't even know, will probably cop Jack Steele, to be honest with you, who is a pretty damn good, he can tag a player in his own right, let alone Windy getting the Butters assignment. And if they really wanted to, they could go Windy to Rozee. So I just do not like this pick at all. He's got an upcoming tag, and then he's probably going to get, he's probably going to get Libba or someone like that, or someone more defensive in this one. He's probably got Tuke Miller written all over him here as well. Like Tuke Miller or Rowell in this game as well, which is a big body. Richmond, he should have a good run. But yeah, I just much rather pick him up for, and then he's going to get potentially Rowbottom this week, potentially a Viney or someone like that this week. He is just getting the bigger body player every single week because the tagger gets Zach Butters. He either gets the tagger or a big body player, and I just do not like that for Rozee. He's coming up against St Kilda, and against St Kilda, last time he scored 57% time on ground for an 89, which is pretty good. But I'm just worried that he will not be able to return to his best. And I am worried about this pick because we said in that mistakes video that these 700Ks can go wrong. And especially for a lot of us, we're basically replacing a Clayton Oliver with a Connor Rozee, and they are pretty much the exact same problem. That Connor Rozee's had 4 or 5 bad games because he's been hampered with injury. And I just don't know if he's actually returning to his best, because if you take out that first quarter, he's on track for an 80 odd. Like, he scored 63 in the remaining 3 quarters. That's on track for an 84. Like, it was the first quarter that carried him. I think in the middle 2 quarters, I think he combined for, 34 points. So I'm just worried that it was just a really good first quarter where he had something like 10 non-disposal acts that is really carrying his score here. So I'm just a little bit worried about this. It probably will blow up in my face saying this about Rozee, but I am just very, very worried that this 115 is a blip and he'll go back to scoring 80s, 85s in the distant future. So yeah, I'm just very, very worried about that. Logan Evans, Irish Homemaker, we talked about in the rookie video. Caldwell, I think this one has a little bit more merit to this just because he's gone 105, 74, 101, 94, 126, and he is a forward, so it is slightly different to Connor Rozee. So I do think this one has a little bit more backing to it. We've seen him go on runs here. If I bring up DFS here as well, I think that midfield role is that good-ish midfield role is sticking. It's not 100%, but I'm pretty sure, like, it's not 50%, sorry, that midfield role. But if we look at Caldwell, 35%, he had 75, 30, yeah. So you can see it's slightly dropped away in round 8 and 9. If we look at his 8 and 9 scoring, 7, 8, 9 was when he had that really bad run. And 7, 8, 9, you can see here, he had a really poor CBAs. He had 33% across 3 games. So I think with Caldwell, if we continue to see, and especially with Will Setterfield out, still Darcy Parish, I don't know, AFL injuries. Let's see Darcy Parish injury-wise. Where's Essendon? Darcy Parish 3 weeks away. And where even is, have they even updated for Setterfield yet? I can't see Setterfield. So yeah, I don't know where Setterfield is. But anyway. Yeah, so with the likes of Caldwell, I would potentially actually be going on to him here, just because I think he is one that is extreme value, but he's also worthwhile value, I think, because he's got that role, and he's also, that role is dictating sort of his run and scoring, and I think if that, given the CBAs that we're seeing and who's out, with Setterfield and Parish out, and I do think that if we look here as well, Archie Perkins had 61%. I think that, and Stringer had 36%. I think if there was one player to almost lose a little bit of time, it would probably be Perkins over Caldwell. So I think that that is the case. But I would talk to also a lot of the Essendon guys on social media about that, who will probably give you a better idea. But I do think that Caldwell is probably the better option of this. So I actually didn't realise that Caldwell was... I sort of skipped over him. Colin Thorstrup, we talked about in the earlier video. McKercher, 592k. I don't think he's actually playing this week. He's said to be training with the VFL squad today. So I don't think he'll train. Tom Green. I personally, just because he's 770k... I would personally give it one more week just to double check with Tom Green, because he did go on this run here. I would rather you go get a 900k guy like a Zorko, a Merritt, a Sarong, a Bontempelli, an Errol Goulden, someone like that, and double check with Tom Green by getting another week to just decide if he's actually right, because this... I don't think maybe a 40k difference in Tom Green's really going to make the difference for you if you know that he's back to his best. But if you don't know he's back to his best, that trying to save 40k can burn you 60 points or so. And I would much rather have 60 to 80 to 90 points if you have to hold... Because you say you grab Green this week and he goes 70, 70, 70. But instead, another person grabs a Zorko and Zorko goes 100, 100, 100. In that time, you would probably, yes, it's 180k difference, but you have probably saved, you've probably scored an extra 90 odd points, I would say. And then in a sense, Tom Green as well needs to get traded out again. So you've almost wasted 2 weeks worth of trades if you were to get Tom Green and it fails. So I would just rather hold fire for one more week with Tom Green, and likewise with Connor Rozee, these type of guys, just to make sure that they've returned. Because I would rather burn with Rozee. Even Rozee might be 2 weeks that I wait on him. 2 weeks waiting on him, gets Gold Coast, Richmond, Carlton. Like he probably, I think once you get through these 2 weeks, it gets a little bit better. Like he still does have tough games, but it's not as bad. So I'd just wait another couple of weeks. Jai Simpkin, I think similar boat with him. He's 617k for a reason. He came back and scored an 81. 81 isn't actually damaging at all, like we said with a lot of these guys. So I would just hold fire with him. I know that I'm not grabbing him this week. I know who I'm actually grabbing at this point. I've hinted for it, and I'm sticking clear with that vision of who I'm grabbing. So yeah, I just think with him, I don't think it's going to be as damaging. I don't think he goes what he did against West Coast, which was 28 touches, 5 marks, 7 tackles. I don't think he does that. As you can see here, the marks and tackles really dropped down and off a cliff there to only 4 from 12, and doesn't really look like he'll repeat that. So yeah, I would just be waiting another couple of weeks with Jai Simpkin. just because 615k, you can't really, it would take another upgrade on top of that to sort of get to another guy. It's quite hard to upgrade him if he does fail. Elliot Yeo, I think he's just come back. Oh, sorry, no. Elliot Yeo is an interesting one. I don't mind this as much because we've seen the run on the board here, 98, 110, 117. The only problem with Elliot Yeo that I find is that he's heavily reliant on tackles. And we've seen before, even with pre-injury, you see here he had a 108, 108, 94. I just don't know if he can sustain a big enough chunk. Like he's averaging 92 for the year with an injury 62. If you take that 62 out, he's then at 1045 divided by 11, and 1045 divided by 11 is still 95. That is only about top 10 or so. It's not a definite one. So at 775k, I would probably wait a week with Elliot Yeo just to see how does he go up to another level with the reintroduction of Harley Reid, or does he sort of stick around that 110 level again? I would just wait another week with him, as I'm not 100% sure with Elliot Yeo. Then we go to Bontempelli and Gordon. Bontempelli does have back spasms, but he's going to play, and he's against North, so maybe just because he's got back spasms, stick clear, because it could be one of those games where he just decides to play full forward. We saw it, was it against North itself that he played full forward? He played full forward somewhere, and he had like 16 touches. I think, where did he play full forward? Was it here against the West Coast Eagles? Basically played full forward, scored 103 or whatever. And so I would probably, I'm saying stick clear of a lot of guys here, but I would stick clear of Bontempelli this 1 week just because of the back spasms and the fact that his position, he might play, but he might just play full forward, and we don't really want that. So I would be sticking clear of him then, and then I would go for him. If he puts up another really good score, he's going to be 990k. You can still get to that easily from, I think, a rookie upgrade, to be honest. So I would go for him after this North Melbourne game, as he's pretty much got a pretty good run, to be honest, into the end. Then you have here Errol Gordon. I would definitely be jumping on him if you haven't already. Yes, he is very, very expensive, but he is ultra consistent. He high tog, good roll, and yeah, not really taggable. So I think that is almost the recipe for success. So he would be almost my number one guy to trade in. Yes, it's probably only not number one or so just because of the price tag, but he is just absolutely almost a must-have for the season ending, as he's got Freo, Saints, North, Lions, Bulldogs, Port, Collingwood, Essendon and Adelaide. I think those are all pretty positive scorers for him. He averages 110 against Freo. Earlier on in the year against Fremantle, he did score a 95 with 6 free kicks against. So that was about a 105, 110 normally. And he does also average 117 against Collingwood, which is just absolutely huge. St Kilda, he only averages 75 against or whatever. But anyway, Kean Brown, no thank you, just because of the break even. Trent Rivers, I'd wait a week. 692k, you can always get him cheaper. You can always get him for like 750k the week after if he's got a good L3, but I'd even be waiting a couple of weeks. Just because he is 695k, and yes, he's had a role change, which we don't know if it will stick or not. 80%. So I'd just like to see 1 or 2 rounds of him doing it, because I don't want to ruin my season over Trent Rivers. So I would be going for definite plays at the moment. And Trent Rivers feels like a guy that could easily be shifted back, or potentially, or use just even 20% less in the midfield for a Neil Bullen or something, or potentially a Salem, or even a Pickett as well could increase his time. And you see that's how you sort of get that time reduced back to 50 or 40%, and he goes back to a 90s guy, and then he's basically pointless. So I would just be waiting out on Rivers. Zach Merritt, loved the pick there as well. Yeah, he got tagged in this Eagles game for a 111 by Jimby, and it didn't really work, to be honest with you. So yeah, Zach Merritt's just one of the more consistent guys. Has a pretty good ceiling of 135, I think, this year, and a pretty good floor of a 78, but then an 87, and the rest a ton. So yeah, really, really good floor, and he has a really positive matchup string for the next little bit. Zorko, another guy in this This may give it away a little bit, but I really like this pick as well. He's been ultra consistent. Yes, he's had one bad game over 62 when I think he went forward, and then an 80 game where I think he got tagged against Hawks, and he had 4 free kicks against in that game as well, so that was a 90 odd normally. And aside from that, he's had absolutely huge numbers. A 184 ceiling is one of, I think, the best scorer this year. 148 in this game as well. So he's had high mark numbers before. Plays Melbourne, and really I don't see him getting many. He gets the tag in Sydney in round 19. But other than that, I don't see a tag coming his way. Maybe GWS go with a tag of Bedford against him. But yeah, I just don't see many tags going his way. So I really like this pick. Timmy Taranto, another one I really like as well. He is 108, 127, so he is coming back from a long injury season off, I guess. What's that, like 6 games off? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games off before round 13 and 14. But I just think he's hit the ground running again, and he's a guy I'd more trust to score just because he basically hasn't dropped below 90 since round 0 in the in 6 games. So I just think he's one at 926k you could put on. And yes, he plays Carlton, but I don't think he really has too many. He may have Bedford tagging him, but I don't see too many tags for the rest of the year. And I see a pretty clean run for him for the rest of the year. So I'd be going there. He's another good one, good target. Josh Dunkley, he put in a 118. I was a little bit high on Josh Dunkley in round sort of early on. I think he also in one of these games had a really good start and then fell away rapidly in one of these 70s or 80s. I think it might have been this 87. He was on about 60 at halftime or something like that, and then he fell away. 118 against Port. I'd wait potentially another week just to make sure with Dunkley, just because he's been very, very 96, 79, 87. I'd wait another week just because of that over going for him, but I could easily see him pop out a good score here. But I would be potentially targeting him for this run here just because he does have Sydney, and I don't think he gets tagged in that. I think they go Zorko tagged by James Jordan and also Neil tagged by Rowbottom. So he may get like a Isaac Heaney, who is still tough, but I think that he'll do well on that. So 18, 19, 20, I think you can pick him up for that run there. Sam Walsh did go 113, I think. What do I think about this? Sam Walsh is an interesting one, to be honest with you. Has Richmond, then has GWS will get tagged in this game. Won't get tagged in this game against the Bulldogs, or may get liver treatment, should be honest, that game. Then has North Melbourne. Port will probably tag, I would think, with Willem Drew. Collingwood won't. Hawks might, but I don't think they will. And then West Coast probably will. So it's an interesting one. It's depending on how strong do you think the tag from Bedford will be on Walsh. But yeah, he's in and around the marker compared to a lot of the other guys that haven't really shown consistency, to be honest with you, in the last couple of weeks. Even though I said he wasn't going to be, if he was going to be iffy last week, he's probably actually proven me wrong there. Whitfield got through the Sydney Swans tag, and I reckon he is back to his best. His run definitely now opens up with Adelaide, Carlton, Richmond, etc. That run really opens up. I don't see him really getting a tag for the rest of the year, so I would potentially look into bringing him in. Even though I said last week that I would wait a little bit. Yeah, he's just proven that can score all right through a tag. De Koning, Graham Myers. De Koning, if you still don't have your ruck set up for the year, you could go there in the 112, 119, 94, 131. I'll just be a little bit careful that he is coming up against Nank this week, who could absolutely throw him to the dirt, because he did get a 94 against Goldstein. He did go 112, but I think that was against Moyle. So yeah, I would just be careful about that, to be honest with you. And yeah, Nicky Dacos, I would definitely be bringing in if you don't have him, just because his scoring is pretty good no matter what. Yes, he did score a 98 against North, but that was 98 in a tag. He will definitely get some run by rolls and some tags, but I don't think it'll be as heavy as North Melbourne's until you hit down at this game against Sydney, where he'll get the James Jordan treatment there. But anyway, I think that's basically it for this week's trade targets. I've probably been a little bit conservative with my my selections there, but I do think that it is one where a lot of people will probably make the mistake. I don't know exactly who the mistake is. So I generally stay clear of all those like 700k guys, especially if they haven't really had a role change that's induced the point scoring. But other than that, I guess it's really just go for definite guys over these sort of iffy guys, I guess. But in a way, that's probably going to get proven wrong once or twice, and people are probably going to throw it back at me. But anyway, that pretty much is the video there, and I guess I'll see you guys in my team reveals tomorrow. Bye, guys.